Welcome into the Landon Tangwall Show and your ultimate guide to the 2026 Notre Dame offensive line. Today, we're going to be diving into the film of 7 different Notre Dame offensive linemen. We're going to get into position battles, depth pieces, and really everything across the board. Now, what is so interesting about this Notre Dame offensive line as I studied them is they're really a unicorn in this day and age of college football because of the depth that they have. Now, if you just look at the starters, especially if Jagusah and Craig are back healthy and back to playing how they played the last time we saw them on the field, I think this is without a doubt the best offensive line in college football, the most talented. But what I can assure you, they are definitely the most deep. Like, this 2 deep is absolutely ridiculous. You look at it, and really nowhere else in college football do you have a 2 deep that looks anything like this. You got 2 guys that have over 400 game snaps on your 2 deep. Your 2 deep, it also features 3 fourth-year players and a third-year player. And the most impressive part about all of that, none of those guys are transfers. That is a tip of the cap to Joe Rudolph, Marcus Freeman, and what Notre Dame is. But the reason that's so important is because, knock on wood, but guys get injured, guys get banged up. You need to move guys around. And we've even seen that in the past with Notre Dame. I mean, you go back to 2024, the starting O-line that you had in week 1 versus the starting O-line that you had in the national championship. 2 guys were the same week 1 to the national championship. You go to 2025, week 1 to the final game against Stanford. 3 guys were the same that you started week 1 to the final game. So you had 2 guys that you were missing that year. So you look around, Notre Dame has needed to use depth pieces the past 2 years significantly. So that means a lot that you have this. And it seems like Joe Rudolph has a lot of confidence in guys across the board. And just the fact that they're staying and didn't hit the portal means everything and says a lot about what Notre Dame is as a program. One note, though. I will tell you guys, if you're looking for Will Black film on this video, it won't be here because we already did a full Will Black film breakdown back right after the spring game. It was his entire spring game. So after you finish this video, I will link that down in the comment section below. So get your Will Black fix in. But we're going to start this thing off with the battle for week 1 starting right guard. If you guys want more Notre Dame content like this, you won't get this anywhere else. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you do not miss it. Thank you to Growing HVAC for sponsoring today's video. If you're in the HVAC business and you're looking to hire someone or you're on a move, check out growinghvac.com. But without further ado, let's roll the tape. All right, we're going to start out with Sullivan Absher, and his trait most likely to win him this starting right guard job, and that's his pass pro. 161 pass blocks last year, 0 sacks, 0 quarterback hits, only 2 pressures allowed. He was locked down. Let's show this. So 2-eye right here. He's going to slant across his face and goes into a double hand swipe, and he catches his inside hand right here. But the best part, and the reason why his pass pro is so good, his hands are always so good at recovering. So that hand gets swiped, and watch, he brings it down and then brings this thing up. And watch how he recovers into this, sits down, and now plants his feet. He's in a power angle. He pulls his hips through, and now look at this underhook. It's lifting straight up like a forklift. That's how you stop a power move. You take all his power that was going straight at you, and he's redirecting it right up into the sky. Beautiful job. That is textbook stuff right there. Joe Rudolph got to be proud with that one. Watch this right here. You want to see a young man battle? You want to see him fight? And I can't even show you what just happened off the screen right there because that is rated R for certain. I love this. So right here, we're battling. You start to get a bull rush. He kind of gets you on one foot a little bit. Boom, we sink right back down in. We get a little bit of a chip from our boy Love, like that right there. And then once again, watch the rebite. This hand starts to get, look, this defensive tackle's gotten underneath him and kind of lifts this thing up. It gets lifted up, and he, boom, pulls that back down in. And now we got up, look right up under the armpit, the sweet armpit. You reach. He just reached on the last one. He says, you're not going to do that again on me. Oh, my gosh. I love the physicality that he brings, too. Get dumped. That's got to do something to you. You're bringing some juice. Here we go. Let's set. Look at, how about I just punch the absolute living daylights out of you? One more time here. Watch this. Watch this inside hand. Watch this inside hand hit. You're going to see poor Five's neck just snap right back. Boom. See that? Might have been a little high with the hand. I don't care, though. I'm knocking you off your track. And then I love this reset. So he gets that initial punch. Now we get some extension. We're able to fully reset. And I see this long arm, so I'm expecting, okay, I got 2 options. I can either chop this long arm down, or I better sit down and stop you in your tracks. And that's one thing that Absher's dang good at. Look at him. Get this paw in here, and then watch him set these feet. Boom. He just absolutely sets this thing, does a great job resetting. Like, he is really a master at hand fighting in pass pro, and that's what makes him so good. He can be super physical, but like I said, knows how to reset, anchor on a really powerful rush right here. And then sometimes you got to be a little bit nasty. Listen, I know Sullivan Absher. I know he likes his military men, his service academy men. He appreciates them. But not 58 today. He came in his gap, so he had to get punished. I love this. You got eyes. You're helping you make sure that, okay, Knapp's got 95. Now it's punishment time for 58 for coming in my hole at all, and you're getting thrown down in the pile, taking out some legs. I love this physicality of pass pro too. All right, now let's talk Sullivan Absher run game, and my favorite part of the run game with him is he understands angles, especially on these combo blocks. So what I mean by that is he knows, hey, we're running inside zone right here, and he has a combo block with Knapp, call this a B block, back to this linebacker. So he understands because of where this linebacker is and we're running over here, I can be super thick into this down lineman, make sure he's taken care of, and still get up and have time because of the alignment of the linebacker. So watch him bang this thing over. Bow! And he allows Knapp to fully overtake this thing, wall it off, and then even himself climb up to the linebacker because, once again, he knew he had time, and he could fully wall this thing off. You could drive a Mack truck through that thing. Love just gets tripped up a touch at the end. But that's one hell of a combo block right there. All right, one more time. Here we go. Similar thing. We're getting outside, kind of mid-zone right here. We got a single block right here up to 9. And once again, like, he knows he has a little bit of time. Watch him. He takes a step. He sees that this guy plays back in to Otting right here, and he's going to get thick. Boom. Bang. You see him bang that hip over because he knows I got a little bit of time, and then we're going to accelerate, get on the linebacker, and it just creates a ton of space right here. So once again, understanding those combo blocks, accelerating off of it. This is a piece of his game that I really like, that this is the type of stuff that it creates explosive runs when you take care of the down lineman and then you get up on the linebacker. And then right here, we're on the goal line. Let's just get a little bit physical. Let's get a little physical. We get an opportunity to get in his chest. You're going in the ground, young man. I love this. He said I didn't do nothing. Look at, he's complaining to the refs too. This is the physicality you need. This is important. This is the tone setting of the offensive line, that we're just going to dominate you, and I'm going to take your will to live, and that's what he's bringing to the table right here. One more time, 94. He's going to slant in right here. He catches this movement and just takes him for a ride. He's a slip and slide in the end zone and then gets on top of him. He kept going. Good thing this thing glitched out because poor 94, once again, getting put on a tape, R-rated. I just love this. This is how you know a man is driving his feet. Like, this is great patience. This is weight. Let it cross your face, and then we're collecting this thing and straight up driving it. And once again, look at the hole that we've created, in such a big hole that we knock 16 off of his path. So 16's too late, and now 16 can't get in because I blocked him off, and Price is in for the touchdown, and I'm burying your man in the dirt. Come on, bro. He plays for the Naval Academy. You got to be a little more respectful than that, Absher. Oh, my gosh. Here's the next thing that I really like about him. And we're going to show this with Augustine, that he doesn't have this. He's got some great pulling tape because Augustine has not played tackle, like I said. We'll get there in a second. But I really like how he pulls, how physical he is. He doesn't slow down at all. A lot of guys, you'll see them when they pull, they'll slow down right about here and just kind of absorb it. And the problem that happens is then you get kind of dented right around here, and there's not as much room for the running back. Absher doesn't stop. It's boom. It's full acceleration in this thing and create as much space as possible for the running back. So that's why I really like him as a puller. One more time, just show you, boom, always accelerating that thing, creating the space. And I had to put I needed an excuse to put this play back. By the way, I love this right here. Watch Absher. He puts his hand up. Let's see. Puts his hand up at the 41-yard line. Just runs with his hands up like this all the way down. Look, still running with his hands up. That's the type of energy I like. He brings it, but there's a lot to like about this guy. He's put a lot of good stuff on tape at guard up to this point. All right, let's talk about the part of Absher's game that I don't like. And bear with me, I know it looks like it's recorded on a potato. We got Marcus Freeman on the other side of the screen, so I had to zoom in. But we're only going to do a couple spring game clips, but I wanted to show you this because it was most recent tape. The thing that I don't like about his game is he gets dented a little bit too much, meaning that, hey, we are running right up the middle. I got this block. I need to just get some type of movement. And there's too many times I'm seeing guys get hands into him, and this is dented, extended,
and then shedding and making the tackle right there. So it was a lot in the spring game too, and I was hoping to see him take a step forward in this. But that's my number one problem with his game up to this point is I can't have plays where, here we go, once again, we're running some type of like mid-zone right over here, and just takes a little too long to get off the ball, and you can see how much we're getting pressed in the backfield. I mean, look where everybody else is, and look where he is, and so that forces you have to cut off of this, cut back into a triangle of traffic right here, and you get tackled once again, get shedded, and kind of fall down. So that once again, this is my problem. This is the next step he needs to take, where we need to accelerate off the football, and we cannot be getting dented like this. One more time. Just two hands in. We're running to you, play side, and once again, you see that extension, you see that press once again. I know we're working with potato footage here, but you see that press extension, and once again, look where everybody else is, and then that's where Absher is, and then gets shedded, and we're in on the tackle right there. So that's the type of stuff I can't have happen. And then the one other little negative I noticed is that we were talking about him on those combo blocks where he'd kind of hit stuff over and then climb up. Anytime he doesn't have anybody, he does this a little too often where he goes airplane mode and just like sticks both hands out, kind of just waits in the hole, waits, and then he's just a little too hesitant. I need him to just go sometimes. Like, all right, when we don't have anything, there's nothing, like these guys are both playing out, just go, get up on him, and cover up this linebacker so then your running back can make cuts off of you, but waited a little too long, and then there is a little bit of playing out of the legs right there. All right, so one more clip right here. Once again, just hesitates a little bit too much. This is 3rd and 1 right here. I need you to go, and now it's 4th and 1. So, I mean, you know right here, hey, I got a combo block with my center. You got to go. You got to go. I don't know what all the hesitation is, but that was just something else I noted in his run game. So I think if there's a flaw, it's the physicality of getting off the ball and not getting dented in the run game. All right, let's talk Matty Augustine and the trait most likely to win him the starting right guard spot, and that is his sheer ability to move a man from point A to point B against his will. Now, obviously, he's only got tackle tape for us. He's played some guard and spring ball, but watch this. We're just going to go inside zone right here and watch him take this 4-eye. It's not that easy to take a 4-eye like this. Make sure I base him up and cover him up, and then watch how we just take him for a ride. Lift him up in the air. You want to go to the amusement park, buddy? Matty Augustine's going to take you there. And I'll tell you what, this also could have been a lot easier of a touchdown if we just ran this way, but just decides to just run into his own wide receiver. Kind of made me laugh. But Matty made it so easy. Running back can go everywhere he wants because we just cleared this thing out. That's the type of movement I am looking for. Okay, here we go. Spring game once again at right tackle. So watch this one right here. We're going to go up the middle again. And the technique that I really like right here is he's kind of stepping down and he's seeing, does the DN squeeze down? As soon as the DN starts to squeeze, he plays back into this thing. And then just watch him just drive this. Just look at that we got him skating. Look at his feet, skating backwards. That's 5 yards being driven. And once again, like, this is him still playing like a little too high. I'm scared for people when he really starts to play in his legs and moving guys out of the way. Good God, help them. But once again, we're making cuts. He gets tripped up. But there's so many times where I see running backs want to cut right off of Matty Augustine's block because he just moves people so significantly that it's like, hey, I got to hit this cutback lane. That's the power that I love. Here we go. Once again, we're basing this up. Like I said, gets a little too high for my liking. The ball, who knows what's happening. But guess what's going to happen to 58? Certain death. That's a tone setter. That is physicality. I love everything about this offensive line, about all these guys on this offensive line are like this. But once again, just moving people a little too high again. And maybe you see, look where everybody else is kind of across the board, and you see how high Augustine gets. If he gets lower, I'm feeling some type of way. It's going to get me a little warm and fuzzy if he really starts to get low. And he's going to have a lot of these plays on the tape when he starts doing that. Let me tell you what. All right, here we go. Watch him ready to tackle. This is what I like, making sure you can cut off his block. And if this was not his teammate, I guarantee you this is getting pile-driven into the turf of the stadium right here. But I love this. And one more time, this is also kind of what I mean by Absher. You get linebacker plug-in, watch Absher, boom, gets dented back. Sorry. I know we're talking about our boy Matty here. I just wanted to point that out. But this is the movement I like. Doesn't get any help. We're down blocking. He makes sure to get the position, and then we drive, and we're able to get right through that block. And like, he's looking at him wrapping around. He's saying, please, please, stop. That's what he's saying to Matty before he goes in the dirt. And then here we go. Love this deuce block. Guard's going to hold this thing up. Your job is to come, bang this thing over. Look how much space we create, and then get up on the linebacker. I love that. I love the type of movement we're creating. Once again, we only have tackle reps for him, but everything he's showing, like once we get it guard, he's going to be able to create some movement. I mean, you see where this 2-eye starts at. I mean, he's starting right here on the outside of the hash. Look at where he takes him because it's Augustine. Goes from right here to all the way over here, and we get up on the linebacker, seal this thing off. If we were able to get this insert block by the wide receiver a little bit better, we could be off to the races off of Matty Augustine's block right here. And then last one more time, just stepping down. He was taking people for rides against Arkansas. Like, let me tell you what, you get some good help right here. But once again, the initial raw power of like this throws him back, and he's still blocking him. 5 is mighty close to falling back on his behind right here just because of the sheer power that Matty Augustine's bringing to him. This is what you're bringing to the table if you put Matty Augustine at guard. And then, like I said, this is only going to improve. This is pretty raw tape that I'm showing right now. It's just going to get better. All right, now let's talk about the part of Matty Augustine's game where he needs to improve the most. And this was pass pro for me. Now, I think this is a problem that's bigger for him at tackle than guard, because guard, there's not a lot of space. You're right on top of your guy. Now, when you're working out here at tackle, one thing I noticed is he was very quick to drop this back foot. So if you see, as soon as he starts to get this edge threatened, he drops this back foot back here, and it gives a soft edge to the quarterback. So drops that foot, and then it's easier to kind of get around. Then he starts to kind of lean and get out of his legs, and we're almost home right there for a sack. It would be really, really close if it was a real game. So that was something that I noticed, that it's also his movement in pass pro isn't super efficient. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So next rep right here, we're going against a very talented DN clearly. But what I want you to see is when he starts to kick, what I see is a lot of pulling of his leg, meaning that when this first kick comes out and this foot is right here, he plants his foot in the ground and then pulls this foot. And what that does is it brings his feet fully together, and it's to the point where his kick foot, his left foot, is it's in front of his post foot. So it's really hard for him to move now. Now he has to drop this foot, and he has to lean right here. And you see he's fully leaning out. You see how this foot is on this type of angle. Like, this is not a situation that you necessarily want to be in. He's got length, so he's able to recover and kind of just ride him out and throw him around the quarterback. So he's got that going for him. But this is why at tackle, I'm not a huge fan of his pass pro. Once again, this isn't going to be a huge problem at guard because there's just not that much space. Now, like, when he does get out and he's not beat off the football, he's plenty fine. He's got a ton of reps like this where he just completely clamps up. He uses that 6'8" frame, and he's just going to sit down, and you're not going to do anything to him. But that's just, once again, this you see this? You always want to keep this relation of your feet when you're kicking. This foot is back. This foot is up. Watch on the first kick what happens, though. You see that? You see how this foot comes in front? His kick foot, once again, is in front of his post foot. You don't want that. That gets you into a bad position. Like I said, he's able to recover and then just sit down because he's just talented and he's a massive human being. But his movement in pass pro, that's the thing. If I'm Joe Rudolph, I'm identifying this and I'm saying, hey, we need to make that kick slide a little bit cleaner, and we need to make sure he always has a base, because that's his biggest problem. We're losing a base, and those feet are coming together too often, and we're just not moving as efficiently as we can. But like I said, there's the losses for him were few and far between. There's a lot of reps like this where he's able to just get hands-on, and the rep is absolutely over. But if I had to identify something, that was just it, the movement in pass pro and having a little bit better of a base. All right, before we get into the rest of this tape, I wanted to pause and give you guys my prediction for who is going to start at right guard in week 1. I think it's incredibly close. I don't think Joe Rudolph knows right now, and I think the battle is going to be decided throughout fall camp. I am going to give the nod right now to Matty Augustine. I think because he is younger, I see how much he is improving. It's rapid improvement. And I will say that Absher has had time to kind of take that job. He's the older guy and hasn't fully separated himself. I think it's going to be Matty Augustine, but like I said, it is going to be very, very close. Now, I think some people will ask, what do you think about them splitting reps, especially if Jagusah is not healthy yet?
I don't love it. I think Rudolph might do it. I did that when I was at Penn State, when I was the left guard. I had to switch off every 2 series. It was hard to get in a rhythm, not only, the chemistry with the guys next to me, but to get a feel for what the guy across from me was doing. So I'm not a huge fan of switching in and out constantly. I'd like to find a winner and stick with him as the starter, especially because you want to be able to just pound the rock and rely on this offensive line. Now, the caveat to all this: once Charles Jagusah is healthy, this is his job. He is the most talented offensive lineman on this team, period, without a question. Now, the question is, can he get healthy? And it's looking more and more likely like he's not going to be ready for week 1. I think the smart move is to slowly ease him in once he is back. And maybe that's a guy that you do kind of switch in and out until you feel like he's ready at right guard and then give him that job. But that is his job. I grabbed his final 2 games that he played in 2024. The last time we saw him, he played right guard against Penn State and then went to left tackle against Ohio State. And let me just tell you what, the fact that Penn State game was his first time playing guard in real game action is insane, because you're about to see what he was doing to people, and you're going to see why I say he's the most gifted offensive lineman on this entire squad. Without further ado, roll the Jags tape.
All right, let's start out with Charles Jagusah run game. And here is a collection of clips against Penn State where his pulls get progressively more aggressive each time he pulls. So right here, we're going quarterback counter. He's kick out. Loves coming, getting one of these linebackers, and in goes Riley Leonard. But I just love how this guy pulls. There's no slowing down. There is no fear in his heart when he pulls. He is only putting fear in the heart of the defender, where I'm going near foot, planted. I'm getting in this type of body position, and by God, I'm going to create some movement for my ball carrier to get in the end zone. That's what Charles Jagusah is about when he pulls, and it's only going to get a little bit more physical, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. 91 looping out. And I don't think he wishes he would have done that. Bow! And we're lifting him up in the air. He is so lucky a couple of his teammates got in the way, because this is a grown man pull. Once again, leg in the ground. We're dipping. We're getting up underneath this. We're lifting a grown man into the air like a toddler. Both feet off of the ground. Do you know what that feels like as a man? And then he is so lucky. He's getting fallen into here. He throws him into another teammate, or else 91, he might have been put in the dirt in the college football playoff semifinal. All right, here we go. Agent CJ56. Target identified. Target neutralized. Oh, my God. If you, as a safety, want to come to the box, this is what I mean. This is the position he's going to be in, and he doesn't care about your well-being. You're going straight into the freaking dirt, and you best believe, we got to go this angle because I want to show you. He just didn't stop there. I told you target was neutralized, but he didn't think all the way neutralized. They got to finish. Okay. That's kind of, okay, sorry. But this is what I mean. Just a physical puller. I think it's his best trait. I'm absolutely obsessed with that. He is just so powerful. Here we go. So slants down. We are blocking down because we're running counter. So I'm blocking this all down. Watch him get this hand on this hip and just drive this thing out. And he blocks 2 guys. He is blocking another man with the guy he's blocking. Like when he digs this guy out and now he's pushing him down, he pushes him into 28, and 28 is now like falling off. Jags is blocking 2 guys in one play in a run game. I've seen that a couple times in my life in pass pro. I don't know if I've seen someone block 2 guys in the run game at once. Sheer power and ability to just move guys in his first ever time playing guard in a real game, basically. That's what's so impressive to me. If we can get back to this, oh my gosh, here we go. We're going to do a little tackle pull, a little tackle dart, getting on the linebacker, and of course, we're going to put him in the ground and get on top of him and show him who's boss. Sometimes you got to lay on top a little bit, but I love him as a puller. If him at guard, when you got a guy at guard that can pull like this, we get him back, we're getting him in space, pin and pull, I don't care. Allow him to just destroy defenders, because that's what Charles Jagusah does best. I cannot wait to see this guy back healthy in the run game. All right, now let's talk about Jags in pass pro, where it's just about as good as the run game. And I want to talk about this anchor, man. That is maybe my favorite trait of any offensive lineman in pass pro, when you can just anchor against anybody where it doesn't matter your hand position. We get a little bit outside with this left hand. 28 surely has leverage. Look, one foot is off the ground. The other foot's kind of off the ground, only a little bit of a toe in the ground. Watch him reset his feet. Boom, boom. That's a thing of beauty right there. We're doing whatever we can to rebite our arms and lift this thing up, and we are getting a full-on hand to the face. And look at this power angle where he just sits down, knees in. He's pulling his hips through to try to redirect that weight up, and he just completely stops this in his tracks and gets the penalty, which actually saves a sack here on first down, and he's still driving his man. That's high-level anchor, and this is a very good defensive tackle here in Zane Durant that put Rocco Spindler on his butt earlier in this game doing this exact thing, and Jagusah is just sitting down, and it's clamps. You can't do much against him. When he gets hands on you in pass pro, watch this. He's just going to kind of go a clamp. Two hands, they both just like clamp in, and he just grips another man up, and it's over. When Jags grips you up, it's done. There's nothing else you can do. He gets to a great position. Once again, we're sinking these hips. Look, nice wide base. Once again, I'm lifting everything up. I got a great base. I'm pulling my hips through. He is so good at stopping power moves. And by the way, just a credit to Joe Rudolph. He has clearly taught these guys how to stop power moves. Like, he has given his offensive line the tool belt to answer any problem that arises against any of these defensive linemen, and it's clear to me. Okay, here we go, national championship. Hey, I went from right guard in the semifinal out to left tackle. Damn impressive, and he still did it at a high level. Once again, we just get a great anchor. Like, we're not in a great position here. A lot of guys, when you got a long arm right here and you're retreating backwards, a lot of guys end up on their back or they get this edge bent. Watch him just rebite this hand underneath, and it's done, and it's over. I'm lifting, once again, I'm lifting up a little bit. All the weight is directed straight up in the air. That's it. Charles Jagusah just sitting down on it. Best anchor on this team without a doubt. And then one thing I really like too, athletic ability to recover. I talked about how much I love anchor in pass pro. The second trait I need to see maybe the most out of anything, your ability to recover. So we're out here in space. The defensive end, JT, really feels that he's leaning out this way, so he does a great job with this left arm, throws him upfield where his momentum is going. And look, his hips are completely facing this way. His body, his feet, everything is going this way. Watch him stop, put one foot in the ground, fully turn, and be able to get a really nice punch. And he says, you're not going anywhere. I love that recovery. You're not always going to be in a perfect position as an offensive lineman. How can you get out of the bad positions and get back into a good one? That's how you do it right here. Jags, love that rep. And then one thing I love here is the IQ. Watch him helping here. This is after Abdul Carter. I think he had like 2 sacks on Emil Wagner at this point, and I love this. He's in the slide. He's going to hold a hand right here, and he's waiting to see if anything comes in the B gap. It doesn't. And there was a couple times where Abdul Carter really just bent the edge and just barely got home, and Jags knew that. So he says, hey, I'm going to the aiming point. This is what we call popping. He's popping out of his gap, basically into the C gap, and making sure I'm taking that hit off of Riley Leonard, and boom, dumping the defensive end in the dirt, and then go ahead, lay on top of him a little bit. Physical in nature. That is what Jagusah is. This guy, love his tape. If we can get him back healthy, it's the best offensive line in college football. All right, now we're going to talk Anthonie Knapp making the move from tackle to guard. Finally, we all know he's a guard at heart, and everything on his tape shows that he's a guard. Let's talk about this. Here we go. What type of assault do we want to start with on his tape? Let's go with assault of a naval officer right here. 49, running away a little bit. Here I come. I'm coming for you. Now I'm taking you for a ride, and I'm going to dump you at your coach's feet. This coach has to step back. Look at this coach. He says, damn, son, he just did that to you? And then he's got to clap his hands and say, all right, next play. Golly, taking the will to live of this defender and embarrassing him in front of his coach's feet up in the air. Physicality, that's what Anthonie Knapp brings. Watch this down block on this 4-eye right here. We're going to try to nose this thing up. We're still a little bit on the back half, so forget this. I'm just going to run this thing and look at him, get him in the air, and I'm just taking you for a ride off the screen. Deleted. This is what I mean. This is the type of interior push you are now going to get with Knapp at guard, where he's just putting paws on you, and that's it. Everything's over. All you can do is pray now if you're this defensive tackle. Look at him. He's just getting jacked up into the air, gets turned around, thrown, and the physicality doesn't stop there. Anthonie Knapp doesn't stop until it hears the echo of the whistle. Not just the whistle. Here we go. Deuce block with his guard up to 23. I'm going to hold him up, Knapp. Look at that sweet, juicy hip right there. Bow, throw that thing over and come right back on 23, and we create a beautiful gap for Jeremiah Love. Safeties close in pretty quickly, but this can't be blocked any better than this. And he's going to get opportunities like this where this is the center and there's a nose, and he's going to be able to come down at guard and just completely knock this thing over. But what I love the most is he understands where 23 is. He's not even looking at him at this moment, but he knows where he's going to be. He knows he only has a second to knock this thing over before he needs, and completely throws it into the A-gap, before he needs to wheel back and make sure he just closes off 23 and collapses everything. Look at the lane he has created. This is the type of stuff that gets me giddy, man. I told you it gets me a little warm and fuzzy. You're going to get me acting up right here in this play. When I saw this, I started laughing and shaking my head. Watch this. Inside step, he matches me. So look at his hands. Like, look at the lift we get here. Both hands come in this uppercut motion where they're kind of back, and they both come. Watch this uppercut and this lift. Lift straight up into the air, and we're just straight up moving him off of the ball, and then just acceleration off of the screen. There's so many plays where Anthonie Knapp is no longer on the screen at the end of the play, and it's not because like the camera's moving a bunch. It's because he is taking his man for an absolute ride. You want to go to a theme park, amusement park? Anthonie Knapp's going to take you there. By golly me. Good grief. Here we go. Wow. That's what we do. And then I'm going to get on top of you too. Love this. So what we're doing here originally is he's just going to block down. I am pulling around. It's just a little tackle wrap. But he's supposed to pull around for 12 originally. He sees 5 fire last second. And so when he gets around, he says, look, you weren't my original target, but now you're going to pay for coming in my gap. Bow! Throw him in the dirt. And like I said, jump on top of him too. Like I said, just consistently finishing. That's what Anthonie Knapp is all about, and why I think he is going to be such a tone setter at guard. You just want to just clap something in. You want to slant into my gap when we're going to run counter right here. That's fine. I'm just going to put you in the dirt. You try to plant. He just collapses this entire line of scrimmage in, and it's just easy for C.J. Carr to run this quarterback counter in. This is the physicality. This is why I take Knapp maybe over any other guard in America. We've been waiting. We've been waiting for this guy to get in his natural position so he can just do stuff like this all day. So he can be a bully all day long and demoralize defenders. He was already doing it at tackle. Now we can take it to the next level where he is just creating a ton of push on the interior. Love this one right here. Watch this. So once again, we're going to run quarterback counter. It's something Notre Dame loves. He's waiting to see if this slants inside. So he takes kind of a trigger step right here. This does slant inside. You get some help right here from your tight end. But watch what this left arm, how he throws this over. He knows we're trying to hit this outside. He throws this over with the left arm and then just plants him in the dirt. Once again, you just want to talk about creating movement up front when you need it on the goal line. That's what Knapp brings to your squad. Straight up power toss and put you in the dirt, and we're in the end zone celebrating. Let me tell you what. And then here we go one more time. Go into the spring game where he does get to play some guard, and I really like to see this against Gray. This is the high-level stuff. This is a guy that's played a lot of football. So he gets into him, right? We're just running inside zone right here. He gets into him and feels like, okay, I'm not necessarily like in the best position, and I feel all his body weight into me, and so he knocks both hands down. You see this? Like, you can feel how much he's leaning, knocks both hands down, and then just throws him into the ground. There are more than one ways to skin a cat, and he knows that. He has a ton of tools in his toolbox. I love the way this kid plays. I'm saying it all-American at guard right here is what you got. All right, now let's talk Anthonie Knapp in pass pro. And my favorite part about this is that he's a guard playing tackle on this tape. So he has to find different ways to win, and he's so good with his hands. Hold on, get up out of there. Yes, sir, get yards. Love that right there. So his hands, let's talk about this. One thing I love always, this outside hand, independent hand strike was so good. It was such a good initial strike to just get something on the defender. Okay, now, once again, we don't have the length that everybody else has. We are getting a full-on long arm. What can I do? Because this is this long arm and I really can't get paws on because I don't have the arm length, I got one option. And he's going to go ahead and he's going to go trap take. He's going to trap this arm straight down because Knapp knows because all of 97's weight is on this long arm, if I trap this arm down, he's going to go where his arm goes, and that's straight down into the ground. That's what I'm talking about, being a technician at your craft and understanding there's different ways to win, especially when you're undersized at tackle, and that's what I love about Knapp's tape. Now, he's going to take this to guard as well. Here we go, spring game going against Gray. You start to get a power rush right here, and I love this. He's going to snatch him straight down. Well, same thing. He feels all of Gray's weight going straight into him. So he says, hey, if I pull both of these and snatch both of these arms down, that's where he's going to go right into the ground, and now my quarterback's able to deliver the football right there. So using it at guard, like I said, he's going to use it a lot because you're going to see more power moves at guard. Here we go in pass pro. I talked about anchor earlier and how important that is. It's going to be important because, like I said, he's going to see more power moves. But the fact that he can get to this point where this defensive end built up a lot of speed, he doesn't have perfect hands. You see this hand kind of got knocked outside. This defensive end is in his chest. This is an optimal position, but watch him just get whatever he can. I'm going to get back on. I'm going to plant my feet in the ground, and he kind of just like gets his forearm back up underneath, and he just lifts up again. Like we've talked a lot about lifting up and redirecting all the power and the weight that's going straight at you and redirecting it straight up into the air. That's what Knapp does so well. Once again, credit to Joe Rudolph. These guys are unbelievably coached. I don't think there's a better technician across the board offensive line from what I've seen. This is so beautiful. That's how you fight. That's how you recover. And that's how you stop a power rush move. I don't think there's going to be a lot of pressure from the interior coming from Knapp's side. And the other piece that I like, he's got great grip strength. There's so many plays where I see a DN trying to chop away at his arm, and they can't get it off. Same thing. You get that early inside hand strike, that outside hand strike right here. So outside hand strike, and now these paws are on, and watch him try to chop away at that thing, and it just doesn't get off. Knapp says, he's laughing. You're done. It's over. Rep done. You're not going anywhere. Love that part about his tape. And here we go. The punch and recover. Check this out. Check out the separation we're going to get right here. So once again, throws that outside hand strike, and guys start to kind of time that up so it gets swiped down. But he's so quick to reset my hands, and watch him just say, hey, I need to reset this whole situation. Boom. Throw him away. And if the quarterback held it a lot longer, I'd be fine. I'd be able to sit down and protect him the entire time. So this is what I mean by his hands are just so good. Not only are they technical, but they're powerful when they need to be, creating some really, really nice separation there. And then watch this right here. Once again, talking about hands, you get an offsides. I kind of wanted to just put this in there. Come on. Plays of the year all over this tape, man. So what you get is when you get an offsides, the center's taught that as soon as this happens, I'm just going to snap it. And everybody kind of has to just peripheral this and see that the ball's been snapped. And we know if this happens, we're all just going to slide kind of to the left here. That's our thing. But what's so impressive to me is that Knapp gets out super late compared to the D end. And like obviously we have a free play, but he still wants to block him. So he's late. So it's like, what can I do? Once again, not his fault he's late, but what can I do? I'm going to throw some heavy hands, boom, and just completely throw him off his track and make sure, even though my guy's got a free play, you're not touching CJ Carr. I'm not giving you an excuse to touch my quarterback. That's what I like. Like I said, he's able to get out of bad situations because his hands are so good in pass pro. And this final rep, watch this right here. We're gonna get into a throwback screen, and he needs to completely reach this and seal it back in so he can't get in on the play. Watch him just stay on this, and then continue to run with him and wall him off. Like, that's the type of stuff. This is the guy you want on your offensive line. This is your centerpiece. And watch how quickly, when you watch for the end zone view, for him to understand, hey, I have a wide 9, and he knows sitting here right now, I need to somehow get all the way out here and box him back in. And it's a long developing play. Like, this is the threat to blow this play up. And he can't do it because watch Knapp. Dude, look how quickly he gets out there, and then you're going to see it. But this isn't the leverage we want. Because if this defensive end sees this, he can just detach and get over here and match Love. So he's going to fight to get on the other side, completely wall him off. Once we get to this throwback, look where we're at now. I don't know what to say. This is a guy I want blocking for my squad. All-American. It's coming. Anthonie Knapp. Absolute superstar in the middle of this offensive line. All right, now let's talk Guerby Lambert making the move from guard out to tackle, another move that we have been waiting for and feel like he might be better there. Had 15 reps at right tackle last year. Right here, this is one of them. And we're going to talk pass pro first. His best trait in pass pro is the length that he has. This guy can scratch his kneecap standing straight up. That's how long his arms are, and that's going to be so much to his benefit when he gets these edge rushers. Now you got like a safety coming off the edge here, but so quickly he can just put paws on from so far away because his arms are so long, and that allows him to just kind of run them around the edge, take them on the loop, and just run them right by the quarterback. So I think that's going to be the best part of his pass pro. And you see it over his tape where he just puts two hands in and we're just sitting down on this thing. You get great extension. Like I said, look how long those arms are. And even here, obviously you're not at tackle, but he's just riding him out, pushing him out, creating a really nice pocket. I mean, Carr feels no pressure and can deliver a dime right here. So that's what you're going to be getting out at tackle. A guy who has a pretty good punch, but once he gets paws on and can extend, the rep's over and he can just run you right by. One more time. Now we're going to get a twist. You're going to get a TE where he's the penetrator, he's the looper. And the job of the guard, when you have this penetrator coming, you have to pass this thing off to your tackle. He does a great job throwing that over, delivering that to Wagner, and then getting back off. And once again, there's that strike. There are those hands. He's pretty dang good with his hands too, and they're so long that it's just so simple that he can throw them so early, and these defenders aren't ready for it, and he can just sit down on. He's a big man. He has a great anchor too. But this is the part that I love about his game, how he uses his hands and just how long his arms are. It's going to be so helpful for him against these elite defensive ends. And then just anchor. Like I said, he's a strong body, constantly rebiting his hands. Like he's in here, then he's going to get this hand, look, gets that pulled right up, and he fits that hand, boom, snaps it back right underneath. All of these guys are technicians. Each guy, I take a second to tip the cap to Joe Rudolph. Same thing for Guerby Lambert right here. Tip of the cap because he's always fighting. He's got great hands. Everything that you want to see out of what should be a dang near elite offensive tackle out there in pass pro. All right, now let's talk about Lambert in the run game, and it has some great reps here. Here we go. We're running outside zone this way. Watch him reach this, and Love's cutting right off of him. Out of there. We're going to create some more big runs like this year, but I'll tell you what, that was right off of the backside of Guerby Lambert. He made that cutback lane, and Love in there for a touchdown. So I love this. He does a good job right away reaching this thing. He knows that, hey, this guy has better alignment. I need to get my hat to this side of him. In one step, boom, I have my hat on the left side of him, and now we're going to put this right arm into him and just drive him this way. We're just going to accelerate our feet and try to create a cutback lane. Wagner does a good job too, and look at the lane that you have created. Look at this. Great job blocking back on this thing, and we're creating a really nice hole for him to get through. But that's what I see a lot of. I see some pretty good acceleration once he gets into guys in the run game, and he can just take them for a really, really nice ride. Here we go. Hold this thing up for me. Hold this thing up. This is what I was talking about, this little ace block where my center holds it up, and I'm going to come bang this hip over. Bow! Completely collapse it. Get up on the linebacker. That's a nasty rep. That's a physical rep, and you're going to have these same type of blocks out at tackle where your guard's going to hold this up for you, and you need to come down and create some movement so pullers can come around and run right behind you, and that's what you're going to get from Guerby Lambert. And then, like I said, does a great job not only taking care of that down lineman, but gets up, great technique, paws in to this linebacker. Play obviously gets blown up in the backfield, but you can't get better movement than that from Guerby Lambert right there. All right, here we go. Reaching a nose. This is not easy. When you are a guard right here and you got to find a way to all the way overtake a nose, not easy. And he doesn't initially. Like, he still has leverage. We're running outside zone to the left. This nose still has leverage. So Guerby Lambert's like, forget it. I'm just going to just run my feet as much as I can and continue to try to reach. And the second that you try to reach out, you see this arm right here, that's of offensive lineman. We love this. When you try to just put one arm out to try to make a tackle, that's when it's time. Certain death. Playing him in the dirt. That's what I mean, that's physicality right there. Taking his will to live. This is the movement that I love. I think he's going to be able to really cover some guys up in the run game. And like I said, you see constant nastiness from this group. Watch this. Bow. Throw that thing over. Now, one thing I will say, and we're going to get to in a second, he's on the ground a little bit too much, but it's the physicality I'm going to continue to need. He sees the alignment of I've got to get up to 3. We have a combo block. We got a B block right here. I know I can be thick into this. Watch him play back into it. Boom. Completely throw this over so I can overtake this, and now I'm climbing up to the linebacker. This is the next step for him. When he is working in space, and we're going to get to this, working in space, he's got to keep his feet under him a little bit more, but the physicality at the point of attack, that's great right there. That's a fantastic job. And then one more, just taking a man from point A to point B against his will and throwing him. Talk about creating a gap for your running back. I'm just going to put this right hand in, and we're just accelerating him, throwing him over, and taking him 3 gaps over to the left. Guerby Lambert, there's a lot to like from this run game tape. All right, I talk about what I like in the run game from Lambert. Let's talk about what I don't like and where he really needs to get better. And that's anytime, like I said, he's kind of, whenever he's working in space, I find him on the ground too often and way more than anybody else. And that's my one worry, I guess, with him at tackle. He's playing in space more. So there's that challenge of he's going to have to move a little bit more. But there's a lot of times like this where he just feels like he doesn't fully get his feet under him and he's not set. And he just kind of gets shedded and thrown to the ground. Now, you got some great running backs that can always make you right. But these are plays we got to be better on when you're in space, and this is a defensive end, and you're going to have a lot of plays like this on outside zone where you need to do this and get on top of him, and I can't have you getting shedded like that right there. One more time, same exact thing, just gets beat inside, ends up on the ground. Running back makes him right and finds a way. Price was just so dang good. But these are the reps just under control. I feel like sometimes he's a little too fast and just wants to just explode. And he doesn't have fantastic like recovery skills like some of the other guys on this offensive line. So that's just something to be mindful of. Let's make sure we're under control with these blocks because we got to stay off the ground and just keep a body on these defensive linemen. And then one more time, here we go as a puller. Like I said, there was a lot of clips of this. This is why I'm showing a couple of them. But there's just too many times where he just doesn't stay up and stay on his block. And right here, like this is, we saw a bunch of guys doing pulls this entire video. I need you to stay on this because this late shed impacts this. If Love can get off and there's not a guy right here, maybe he could get through, but your man makes the tackle on the pull. That cannot happen at guard. And the other piece I want to talk about of his run game, like we saw how physical he can be, but his physicality is really on and off. So what I mean by that is like sometimes he can be super physical. And the next play, I'm like, that was Charmin ultra soft. So right here, we have a combo block, center and me, up to 18. Like hit this over. I just saw you do it in this same game, but he comes and really doesn't give anything. Like he barely touches this down lineman, and now they both think they're going to climb up. But we leave the nose tackle to make this tackle right at the line of scrimmage. You can't do that, but either way, even if there's a miscommunication, I need this to be more physical at the point of attack. And like I said, there was just kind of a lot of reps of that where, here we go, we got a linebacker plugging. Just put two hands right here into his shoulder pad and just wash him down. But doesn't really do that. And once again, I don't think he trips on anybody. There's no one to really trip on. I think he kind of just falls over on his own feet. So that's kind of what I mean about too many reps where he just ends up on the ground for no reason. But that linebacker ends up making the tackle here on Love. So like these are the points where I just need more consistent physicality. This guy's plugging, wash him the hell down. I know you can do it, Lambert. I've seen it. I just need to see it more often. Same exact thing. Linebacker plugging. You even have leverage. Dude, I need you to take this. This should completely be covered up, but he still allows the linebacker to break through and get in on the tackle. You have so much more weight than him. You have so much more power. You got to seal this one off. You cannot let him burst through the line of scrimmage and make that tackle. And then right here, you get a double mug look where both of these guys are linebackers. They are light. You should be licking your chops that I get a down block on a linebacker and he's stood up. I'm taking you for a ride. But just two hands in, kind of get chucked to the side, and if you wanted to cut up here, you couldn't because he gets beat. Never a lot of guys get beat play side here too. But this is something, like I said, consistent physicality is the biggest step for Lambert. If he can do that this year, I think he can be one of the better offensive tackles in college football, but there was a little too much Charmin Ultra Soft that I saw on this tape. All right, now we're going to take a look at Styles Prescod, backup left tackle. And you guys are probably saying, why are we going to look at his tape? Well, right here, the spring game. This is why. He kept jumping off the screen when I rewatched it. I couldn't help but say, I got to show you guys his tape. Like, I understand he's not going to start this year, but this is a great example. You see that finish. Great example of why this is the deepest line in college football. This is your backup left tackle. This is a guy that you can trust. So right here, what you're going to get is you're getting this puller around, and he's going to basically what we call sift. He's waiting to see if this defensive end squeezes down. The DN does squeeze down. So Prescott says, all right, I'm going to take you for a ride. Get hands in. He tries to get in. That's fine. Now I'm just going to run you and dump you. Straight up physicality from him all spring game long. That's why I couldn't take my eyes off him. I went back. I'm trying to watch Augustine, all these guys. Prescott refuses to be ignored, though. That's the problem. He said, I want this film breakdown. Look at this. You get in. Prescott does a great job being physical, completely turning the down lineman so then his guy can take this over, and then getting up on the linebacker and accelerating and playing in the dirt. Joe Rudolph, you had to have watched this tape if you're Joe Rudolph and said, I got something here. Look, there's no spot for him to start on the line, and maybe he's not there yet, but some straight-up physicality in the run game got me a little giddy watching this guy's tape. We're down at the goal line. Let's get up on the linebacker. Maybe my favorite trait is how he gets up on linebackers and safeties in space. He wastes no time. He sees, okay, he's right there. I'm going to accelerate, get on his back half, and I'm just going to run him by, wash him down, pancaking, and I'm getting my running back into the end zone. This is the physicality. This is the acceleration I love to see. And like I said, just a fantastic example of why this offensive line is so dang deep right here. Once again, look how fast he gets up on the linebacker, the acceleration, the erasing of a linebacker. If we're able to pop through these holes, like I love this. So many guys are so hesitant right here. They'd kind of go like airplane mode. They'll put two hands out. They'll kind of waddle. Not Styles Prescod. He is getting up on that linebacker and trying to absolutely drive him. All right, next rep. Just two hands in, and we're just going to get movement. I think a lot of people don't understand, like these base blocks, a lot of times you don't get a lot of movement. You're just trying to kind of wall your guy off. Watch him just, these legs, they're going to, we're just moving him one by one by one and deliver him to the goal line. That's 4 yards off the line of scrimmage that I just took this defensive end. Now, play ended up in the backfield, but that's not Styles Prescott's fault. He was working all day, and the reason why I'm showing all spring game tape is because, like, I feel like he's such a different player than I saw on tape in the fall, and he just looks so different. His demeanor and run game is just nasty now. Once again, here we go. Let's get up on backer. Fly up on the backer, get on top of him, and take him and ride him off right in the play. I mean, this is textbook stuff, getting up on the guy, getting two hands in, and then just accelerating and taking him for a ride. Like I said, he's not going to start. There's nowhere for him to do that. But having this quality backup makes me feel so good if I'm Joe Rudolph. And then let's talk about Prescod's pass pro. Looked really clean. I think he's one of the more athletic guys on this offensive line, and kind of just dump him. I'm just looking bored out here. It's too easy, but has a really smooth set. Like he always has. He always gets out really well, and he's developing a really nice punch where he gets that arm on. I like this hands on his backside, so when he tries to spin, he just has him completely locked up, and then even just babies him. Just like a little toddler, just throw him down. I love the clamps that he has in pass pro here. This Yo, look at the time. So they go hurry up. So the chain crew is trying to run to get set up, and takes a tumble. Marcus is looking over there. What the hell is going on over there? Anyways, we get up, and I like this. You go hurry up mode, and you get them to jump off sides. But here's what I love about Prescod is that he has to wait. So they go on two. It's offsides. He can't jump right away because the goal is they're going to snap the ball and get a free play. So then he jumps. I mean, look at the relation he already has. Like, this DN has him beat, but he's so good out of his stance and so athletic. He gets back into a good situation, gets two hands on, able to rebite, and then just plant his man in the ground. That's recovery. That's something I love to see. So Will Black's the left tackle, but, God forbid anything happens or you got to move guys around. I feel really good about what this kid brings to the table and how he has progressed, especially over these past couple months. One more time, just getting out in space, really, really nice strike, staying in front of your man, and just completely walling him off. This is high-level left tackle tape in pass pro. Everything you want to see, athleticism, hands, all of it. Really, really nice reps right here. And then we got ultra zoomed. I think we got Faison over here on the left side of the screen, so we got to zoom in. He did allow a sack. I believe this is the Keeley. He's fine. He's really good here. It's just this last second. I need him just kind of run him into all these linemen. He just gets edged just a little bit on the inside, and then I think Keeley gets that hand down. He swipes it down. So only one bad rep that I found from the entire day, but looked like I said, a different player than I've seen on tape, and I feel like a guy that can help you win no matter what. Like I said, not going to be a starter, but I feel so good about this depth, and this guy right here is a huge reason why. All right, now let's talk starting center Ashton Craig. If this guy can get back healthy and play the way he does on this tape, this is a nasty offensive line right here. He reaches these nose so well. Anytime he's one-on-one, you can leave him one-on-one. He doesn't need any help, and he's dumping him in the dirt. There's always a physicality with these guys. But look, this is the hardest thing to do as an offensive lineman is to have a shade or a nose, and you are mano-a-mano with him. I need to snap the ball, step, and reach him. There we go. I already gained leverage. And now let's run this thing, and let's take this guy's will to live and put him in the dirt. That's what I love to see at Ashton Craig. And that's one of the best part of his game and why you're able to run so much outside zone is because he takes care of the initial down lineman by himself. Look at this. This defensive tackle does a good job kind of like holding down this gap. And Craig says, hey, if you want to really play this gap, I'm going to take you where you want to go, and really uses this right arm strong and throws him out of the club. Look at him. He's got him running away from him. Come back. That's the physicality I like. And like I said, just creating these holes in the middle. If we're able to reach this a little bit more because of the push we got and him just throwing this thing out of the club, if we wheel this off a little bit more, Love's one-on-one right there with the safety. So that's the movement that you can create that allows these cutback lanes. And when Craig is out there, it doesn't get much better than that one right there. Watch this twitch. Explodes into this thing. Now, 88 spins off the end, gets in the tackle, whatever. But I just want you to see, like, this is a 4-eye out here, and he just moves. He stabs his foot. Boom. Do you see that? This is why you're going to be able to run outside zone pitches, pin, whatever you want to run. Your center can absolutely move and cover noses up like no other. And then the other piece of him. Get up on backers. And it's not just the nose. When they slant away, hey, centers, they have to get up on backers all the time. How can you do it? The answer for Ashton Craig is I can do it well, and I can do it physically. And I'm going to put guys down in the dirt. I love this. Puts the stiff arm, sees, okay, I'm working up to 16. We got a combo block up to 16. And I love the acceleration. Like, make sure that this is fully walled off, and then watch as he stabs his foot in the ground, and we're going to, boom, accelerate, and gets kind of both hands up under. I like this, refits them, and then we're just driving our feet. And that's why he's so good at getting up on linebackers, is because he doesn't stop moving. He's under control, but it's controlled anger, controlled power, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely nasty, and he's still a technician while he's doing it. All right, here we go. Watch this one. So he's stepping. He's thinking, hey, I got a combo block with my left guard. This loops away, so instantly if something loops away, that means something is coming from the other angle. Watch him brace back into this, boom, take this thing over, and then wall him off this way. And once again, look at the lane that we have now created for Jeremiah Love. Now it closes quickly, obviously, but this is still really impressive work. This is high IQ stuff. He's thinking, they're supposed to climb up to this, but he knows that something is coming over here, and he sees that, hey, we're doing a little bit of an exchange with the linebackers. So just great job having that IQ, taking that thing over and walling that thing off, getting yourself a nice hole for the running back. Really nice rep there. And then one more time, let's get up on the linebacker and just run him. If we break through this thing, we're all that could have been a touchdown off Craig's butt right here. But I love it. He always makes sure that the down man is secured and always does a good job accelerating and getting up on the linebacker. I think because of his injuries, he's not talked about as much on the national landscape. But if he puts together a full year and can play all year and gets back specifically to this type of Ashton Craig, I think he could be talked about as one of the best centers in college football. And once again, if we are fully healthy, I don't know, guys. This is far and away the best offensive line in college football. This guy can do it all in the run game. And then let's finish off with Craig in the pass pro game. And he's agile enough to match up with these linebackers. When they blitz, watch this. Get the hell out of my club. And then he's able to reset. Love that, Jeremiah Love out there catching balls. Here we go. So just understands that we are mono. We're man across the board. So I know it's me and 10 on an absolute island. Look how much space we have to work with. But I love this. 10's going to work a move to the right. And he says, hey, I might not be able to fully cover you up because you're a better athlete. I'm going to use my punch and just throw you to the side. And that's going to allow me. Now I can recover. Now I can get back in position. And I'm fully blocking this thing up. That's a really impressive rep right here from Craig. That shows me that he can work against any blitzing linebacker in space and find a way to wall him off and allow his quarterback to get that football out. And really, I like his technique when he's working against these noses. I love how he uses his offhand. So offhand is, means that his right hand is on this football. As he's snapping the football, watch the left hand shoot. It's like happening at the same time. Football's coming back and left hand is starting to come out here. And the reason why this is so good is because it gets you instant contact, and you're already into that body of that defensive tackle, of that nose tackle right here, and then he's able to just sit down on it. He's got a really good anchor, but it's his hands and his ability to sit down on these big-time rushes. That's what impresses me the most about him in pass pro. He's shown so many good traits. Get Ashton Craig back healthy, and this is an offensive line that I am afraid to go against.